We welcome you to Memorial Day, and then as we go through here, we'll ask you to stand and to sit down. Would you please rise? And sometimes they can't hear us out there at the flag. Colors. Halt. Reset. Arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Post. Colors. Ready, two. Freeze it. Arms. Okay, go ahead.
Everyone, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Recall. Ready. State. Forward. March.
Let us pray. Lord, as we gather today here in the winds of your freedom, O God, we come with the utmost respect, remembering those women and men who have given their lives for the very freedom in which we enjoy. This day for many is a day of honor, and rightfully so. We are grateful here in the community, in the valley, to enjoy all the many blessings and freedoms that we have. For many, Lord, this is a difficult day. because they have lost loved ones. I pray, oh God, that your Spirit might come, might fill their hearts and give them joy and peace. Those of us who are here and enjoy this freedom, oh God, I pray that we might live it in a way that reflects the great sacrifice that was indeed given for us. That we might live in a way that reflects honor, dignity, and integrity. Bless, O God, the events of the day. It is in your name that I pray. Amen.
Please be seated. We want to introduce some of the people who are here this morning before we begin our program.
Good morning. Thank everyone for coming, especially a thank you to all the vets we've got here this morning. Thanks for coming, and especially thank you for your service and sacrifice. I also want to mention the Border Patrol, the police, and the fire department. They get kind of overlooked sometimes, but they're also out there laying their lives on the line for all of us every day. So we appreciate them also. I want to thank the mayor for being here. He's a great supporter of the memorial. Senator Hinojosa and his right-hand gal, Norma Brewster. They're very much a part of the memorial and support us. And Senator Hinojosa and Congressman Hinojosa. We've got some ladies from the DAR here because several of them called me on the phone yesterday, and we appreciate all their help here at the memorial. Mr. Thomas Palladino, he's the director of the Veterans Commission. Special thank you to the families of our fallen heroes who are here today. And thank you to Mr. Jim Tabak, who was responsible for all of the little flags that were passed out here today. That was very nice, and we appreciate that. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Jan. We're going to now open officially our ceremony here. We're going to ask Mayor Jim Darling to say a few words. Can you hear still the same? I want to say that without the city and the mayors and the commissioners, and in fact is the whole RGV community, we wouldn't be here today. So it's a great delight when the mayor shows up here. Mayor Jim Darling.
Thank you, Colonel, and I noticed by the program we have 6 minutes exactly because the Colonel was a Colonel and I was an enlisted man, so I make sure I do that. But my fellow patriots, Americans, veterans, family members, and friends, good morning and welcome to this 2014 Memorial Day ceremony. On behalf of the City of McAllen, our McAllen City Commissioners, our great Parks and Recreation Department, all the great employees from the City of McAllen, we want to make sure that you feel welcome to this great Texas War Memorial. You know, it's really grown. It's Colonel Plummer and the great group of veterans that we have today that really have dedicated the last 15 years of their life, a lot part of their life, to making this the great place that it is. And it's a reverence place and a very special place. We dedicated the Sphere last spring, I guess, and the Colonel wanted me to go up to the top with him. You can go through a crawl space and climb to the top. And although I had 133 missions in Vietnam, I'm not quite ready to go to the top of that spire with the Colonel. Of course, unless he orders me to do that. This is a special place, a place of honor, respect, remembrance, and gratitude from our community to all those that have served, and especially those families from our Rio Grande Valley who have lost loved ones in the service to our country. Memorial Day. What is Memorial Day? It's a holiday, a day off for many, a sales day for many of our merchants, a day for barbecues and picnics, and a day to be with family. I even saw an advertisement this morning that said Happy Memorial Day. But for too many of our families in the Rio Grande Valley, it's another day of lifelong sacrifice, a sacrifice of losing loved one in service to our country. Memorial Day is a day of honor, recognition, remembrance, and gratitude to the 1.3 million men and women who gave their lives for our country, and to the families who have lost a son, a daughter, a father, a mother, a brother, or sister who has also suffered that loss. That is why we're gathered here today, to show gratitude and empathy for those families. To honor and recognize those brave men and women, although they are no longer with us in a worldly sense today, they will be in our hearts and thoughts of all Americans as long as we have a nation. They will be honored and remembered at special places like this war memorial. As I listened to the national anthem today, I remember a quote from Aaron Kilburn, and he said, "The dead soldiers' silence sings our national anthem." And isn't that true? Our heroes will never be forgotten as long as we never take our freedom for granted. We should always be mindful that freedom comes at a terrible cost. The great majority of servicemen and women we honor today were not career military men or women. They were citizens who committed, many voluntarily, to the defense of freedom, to duty to their country, and expected to return home after their tour of duty. That's what patriots do. 1.4 million who served didn't return home as expected. The land of the free and home of the brave, not just in an anthem we sing, but in the way of life, the American way of life. So Colonel Plummer and the rest of our great veteran community who have organized this great program for you today, we say welcome and thank you. May God bless the families who have sacrificed so much. May God bless America. Thank you.
You know, I always enjoy listening to him. If you listen to him very carefully, he really gets to the center point quickly. And I look out there and see all of you today and all around us. It's just a great lift to know that we're not forgetting those who gave their lives. As you know, this was developed on the concept of a teacher's schoolroom. You walk into that schoolroom and what do you see? You see stuffed on the board and mathematics problems and little reminders to the kids. It is what we have here, a story with everything that we have out here. So we are delighted that you're here and helping us to remember them. Because through this, though the 1.4 million American men and women killed and missing in all the wars and conflicts will never be forgotten. I'd like to take a couple of seconds here now. We have one of our favorite congressmen down here, and I wonder if he'd say a couple of words. Congressman Hinojosa, Ruben Hinojosa has been in there now for 18 years, and I know he said he's not going to talk about these accomplishments, but I'll tell you, they are long and they're great. He's working on some right now, and I hope he just touches on them. He'll be very short, but I asked Congressman Hinojosa, would you say something?
Thank you. It is truly an honor to be here this morning as we pay tribute to all the veterans from the Rio Grande Valley, so many of whom are present here today. I especially want to thank Colonel Plummer for inviting me and for the great work he does every year to make this Memorial Day event possible. Also, I want to say that it is indeed an honor for me to join a great public servant who has represented us in Austin as our Texas State Senator, Chuy Hinojosa, who in my opinion will go down in history as one of the best Texas state senators in the state of Texas. Give him a big round of applause. Today is the day we join our fellow Americans to salute those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and respectfully remember those who have served our country around the world in the name of freedom and democracy. We have an obligation to care for our service members when they are abroad and when they come home. Just as the military pledges to leave no soldier behind on the battlefield, we will leave no veteran behind when they return home. Just a few days ago, a week ago, President Obama invited me to accompany him on June the 6th with a small delegation of members of Congress to Normandy, France. We will meet with the French President Holland and many other military leaders. And I will be representing our region. To each veteran and service members here, thank you for your service. To each family member, thank you as well for your love and your support. We often forget that those left at home also pay a huge price for our freedom. Today, as we respectfully remember those soldiers we have lost, let us pledge to honor their memory by our renewed commitment to serving others and serving our community. Thank you, and God bless America.
I'll tell you, it's always a delight to hear what's going on. He has a lot of stuff going on up there now, and we are benefiting that for all the veterans that are across here. And for him to be selected to fly in an army with the president is also a great honor. It shows his knowledge of people up there, that he's a veterans congressman. I'm going to take a second now, and somebody else has just come in that we veterans are all very interested in. And as you know, we have a state agency that monitors all of our activities and helps direct it throughout the state. And we have the executive and the director right now of that state agency, of the Veterans Commission, Texas State Veterans Commission, Mr. Thomas Palladino.
Thank you very much, Colonel Plummer, Congressman Hinojosa, Senator Hinojosa, Mayor. My name is Tom Palladino. I'm the Executive Director of the Texas Veterans Commission, and it is my honor to come down here today from Austin to participate in this ceremony to honor all of our sons and daughters who have paid the ultimate sacrifice to their nation. Memorial Day is a day when we remember and we pay tribute to all those loved ones that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And who are all these sons and daughters? They are who lay down their life. They're our family members. They're our loved ones. From beginning of this nation all the way to the present day, they're the ones who volunteered for service, put the uniform on, went wherever their country told them to go, did their duty, and in some cases laid down their lives. They wrote a blank check to the United States of America to protect our freedoms, and they pay the ultimate sacrifice. So we gather formally one day a year. We remember them every single day, but on Memorial Day, we specifically remember what they did for us. And we would not have the freedoms today if it wasn't for them. But we also must remember all the loved ones they left behind. Their fathers, their mothers, their sisters, their brothers, their sons and their daughters and their cousins, their nieces and nephews, uncles and aunts. We must remember them all, because our prayers and our thoughts go out to all of them. And I think in this audience today, we have Gold Star families in the audience today. And I want to give you my thoughts and prayers for you in your loss. So today is not just a day of remembrance, and it is sad, but it's a day of hope, because we should remember not just what these fallen heroes have done for us, but they wanted us to live on in our lives and never forget them. So we should never forget what they've done for us, and their spirit lives on with us. We should always keep that close to our hearts. And you've done that here in McAllen. I have been throughout the state at every memorial site. And I'm going to tell you, this is the best memorial site that I have seen throughout the state. What you've done here, everybody should come and see this site. It is beautiful. And I'm very proud to be part of this ceremony. And I want to commend you for what you're doing today to remember all our fallen heroes. The last thing I want to say is that Congress has designated a moment of remembrance at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Every Memorial Day at 3 p.m., Congress has asked that everyone in the nation pause for 1 minute as a national moment of remembrance. So please do that. Thank you very much, and God bless.
That was excellent, especially about the Park Memorial. Now we all, the RGV and all of you sitting there should be very, very proud of that too, because you're part of that. Everybody is part of this memorial. It could never have been built without that. And so, thank you very much. Now this gentleman right here, Thomas Palladino, is very important to us as veterans. He heads the Texas Veterans Association and the Veterans Up There Commission that works throughout the state with representatives. So we're very, very fortunate to have him, and thank you for saying a few words. We're now going to move into our keynote speaker, which again, one of our delights. We know him for a long time. It's State Senator Chuy Hinojosa. He has been with us a long time, and he just completed something up there in the state that took a long time and had to go through a lot of different people and raise a lot of money, where he has one of the most beautiful statue, I guess, what would you call it, a series of statues that represents Texas and the veterans. So I'm going to ask our Mayor Jim Darling if he would introduce Chuy Hinojosa.
Thank you, Colonel. And I promised I wasn't going to do this, but since we just had Director Palladino talk about Veterans Affairs, I want to say one thing. You know, Mark Twain had a saying that patriotism is supporting your country all the time and your government when it deserves it. And I think our government does not deserve our patriotism at this time until they fix the veteran problem. And we need to make sure that they do that. And this is not a reflection on Congressman Hinojosa. He's fought for all us veterans in our area, and so hopefully we need to support him to take that fight back to Washington. There, I did my political thing. I'm glad I got that off my chest. It was bothering me. You know, I'm introducing our Senator Juan Hinojosa, and we go back a long ways, 35 years now that we've known each other. And you know, I think if you take a look at what we're honoring today is all these veterans and servicemen who lost their lives for our country and the American way of life. Well, Senator Hinojosa and I were talking about this, and we both appreciate the American way of life. You know, come from relatively humble beginnings. He served in the military, served his country proudly in the Marine Corps, and then not only that, he served his country afterwards as a civil servant, both as an attorney general, as a state representative, and as our state senator. So we thought about it the other day, and we said, geez, he came a long way, but the only way he could do that is America, because it truly is a land of opportunity. And that's why veterans fight the war they do for fellow Americans. So I'm proud to do this. He's a friend of mine, he's a friend of yours. He's our senator. I'm not going to read a lot of his accolades. You could read that. He's not that kind of guy. He doesn't want to be introduced this way. So I'm going to just introduce him as our friend, Senator Chuy Hinojosa.
Thank you. God, they just gave my speech. Today, I'm very honored and very proud and very humbled to be here today, a very special day, where we honor those soldiers who gave their lives for our freedom, our country, our families, and our way of life. Throughout history, there have been over 1 million American soldiers killed in combat in foreign lands, fighting for our freedom. But sometimes we need to stop and ask, who is this American soldier? The American soldier is the fathers, our mothers, our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters, our neighbors and friends, our families. This is who is the American soldier. I will tell you, having served in Vietnam, United States Marine Corps, it taught me a lesson to appreciate our country, to appreciate the commitment and the valor and sacrifice of the American soldier. I learned the heartache and the pain when I lost 3 of my high school friends in Vietnam. Lionel Guanteo, U.S. Army. Walter Merle Lanford, Marine Corps. Jesus Martinez, U.S. Army. And of course, Freddy Gonzalez from Edinburgh, who died, and Chuy, who received the Medal of Honor, U.S. Marine Corps. Just to name a few. But what is important, and this is what really amazes me, in my squad in Vietnam, I had a Marine, his name was Anzio, from New York. I had two hillbillies out of West Virginia that could make moonshine. The son of a preacher, blue-eyed, from Alabama. A couple of ranchers out of West Texas. We had some city boys out of California. We had a Cornhusker out of Nebraska. But what was really amazing, from all walks of life, from different religions, from different parts of our country, we were family. We were united, and we believed in freedom, and we believed in our country. For those of us who have been in war, we understand what fear is. But we also understand what it is to bond like a family and be willing to die for each other. And make no mistake, we must never forget the American soldier, because we owe our lives to those who are willing to step up. Sometimes we forget that we used to have the draft, where a person was taken out of their home, their family, their community, and that person stepped up to become the American soldier and be sent to a foreign war to fight for our freedom. I tell people that in our world, there are evil people, evil forces, evil countries that want to destroy our country and our families and our way of life and our freedom. For us, we always have to be ready, be prepared, and educate our young to be ready to step up, to fight for what we have, our freedom. And if I may, I would like to read a short poem that was written by a Vietnam veteran, Fred Lugo. America's heroic men and women. On Memorial Day, join us in celebration as we remember America's heroic men and women. Their service and sacrifice for our freedom was paid at full price. Let us never forget that our heroes fell in the battlefield in harmony with God's will. Let us decorate every sacred grave with a bouquet of flowers and American flags to patriotically whisper and wave. Let us remember that no hero has ever died in vain. So offer prayers, tears, and cheers, and tell your children about the gifts of dreams and freedom that fallen heroes have left us as souvenirs. Let us commemorate with a 21 gun salute and bugle echoes America's fallen heroes. Let us pay tribute to America's heroic men and women whom will forever be our heroes in heaven and here on earth, and who, in freedom's name, sleep in everlasting fame. As a poem that was written by Fred Lugo, a Vietnam veteran, and I thought it was very appropriate. But I also would like to express some of my personal thoughts. Being a Vietnam veteran, we need to take care of those of us who came back, because we still carry wounds and scars in our hearts. And it's important that we support and provide them the love and the caring that they have earned for our country. When I came back from Vietnam, which was a very unpopular war, I felt unwelcome in my own country. But now, as we see from Afghanistan, from Iraq, our soldiers are treated much better. And for us, it was a very personal, emotional time when on March 29th, we dedicated a Vietnam monument at the state capitol to honor all Texas veterans who fought in Vietnam and are now back home with us. And for me, I will always, every day, think of the Vietnam veterans and of all veterans who have paid and died for us to enjoy our freedom. When we walk and barbecue, when we walk and smell the flowers, when we enjoy our family and feel the wind, thank a veteran that we have a free country. And I will end by saying that we are a very blessed country, but we also have to honor the families who have stayed home and sacrificed, who never knew whether their loved one would ever return alive. I only saw my father cry once. That's when I came back from Vietnam. And sometimes I didn't realize how it is and how painful it is for families to stay behind when the young sons and daughters, brothers and sisters leave for war. I'm very grateful to have been an American soldier. I'm very grateful to the veterans and for the sacrifice they have made for our country. God bless America. God bless our American soldiers. God bless our families. Simplify, for us soldiers, hurrah! You know, we are veterans, we're a little bit older. We can't run as fast as we could when we were young, but we can still shoot straight.
It's a delight to have our senator here. He is true veteran. He says a lot of good words there, but right to the point. Also, he's talking about those that are honored here on earth and those who are going to be honored in heaven. Well, we have today, we will be followed with this, but we do want to thank you, Senator. We always look forward to having you here. You and Senator Hinojosa are always invited to come back. We're going into our ceremony that's both touching and nostalgic to us, especially us up here. As you know, we have honored and remembered the 45 people, or young men and one woman, who've been killed in Afghanistan and Iraq. We have their pictures and their citations on the wall. Today we're entering the last two that we have here. We have their families here, and this is our part of the program that is it's pretty hard to take sometimes. But we feel that we must never forget those who have given their lives to this nation of ours. You know, our Constitution has a foundation. That spire has 5 40-foot spikes down in the ground holding it up. It goes down 40 feet. But the foundation has something that you can't grab. It's something holding it up. This whole United States is being held up by something that you can't touch. You can't hold it. So how does it stand up? Well, the basic pillars are freedom and liberty. That's what the entire Constitution is based on. You just have to look at our 10 things in there that give us the right to religion, the right to freedoms and press and so forth. So the patriotism that he's talking about, both of them talked about, is so important because that's what keeps the liberty and the foundation going. Whittle on that foundation of liberty and freedom, and our nation starts to crumble. And it will crumble if those two ingredients, those principles, are ever taken down, whittled on, or broken, so will go our nation. So today we want to make sure that future generations remember those who have given their lives to this thing. We're going to start what we call the Rose Program. And we're going to ask Neil Canales of the Department 311 here in the city of McAllen, if he and Irma Herreros, who is also the lady who conducts these for us. She is a member of our board, and we also had David Garza, I saw him a while ago, that they have put this program together. It's beautiful. Neil, would you come forward?
Thank you, Colonel. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Neil Canales. I'm with the City of McAllen 311 Department. I'm honored to conduct this part of the military Red Rose ceremony, honoring the two young men who died in Afghanistan. Of course, as he mentioned, Irma Herreros will be over there along with David. David, by the way, is president of the Mercedes Veterans War Memorial and maker of the white crosses, which are presented on the ground at this current time over there. Now, we begin the dedication ceremony with the reading of the citations of each of the two soldiers honored today. Sergeant Jonathan A. Golnitz. We welcome their families, their loved ones, and friends who join us for this special ceremony. The Freedom Roses to be presented to the Gold Star mothers are symbolic of the blood shed and the freedom earned for the American people by these national heroes. The roses express the love and support of other Gold Star families who have lost members of their families in war and the undying gratitude of the American people. The roses will be placed on the white crosses at the base of the memorial by family members. To begin the program, we ask the two Gold Star families and their representatives being honored today, would you please rise? Our heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here today so that we could express our love and ensure that your loss is never forgotten. It was not forgotten yesterday. It is not forgotten today. It will not be forgotten for all of our tomorrows. Let me remind everyone, the freedoms and liberties that we enjoy today are precious gifts. They've been hard-earned with the lives of many Americans who died in all the wars and the conflicts of our nation. Through their sacrifices, they've helped create, build, and secure a free and democratic America. On behalf of all Americans, we place the names and deeds of these young men on the walls that are over here before you. They'll be there for all time. At this time now, we ask the Gold Star families, friends, and loved ones who have soldiers in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars to please rise. Now I ask others who have had their loved ones serving in these wars, would you also please rise? Please know that our gratitude for being able to live in a free nation of free people. Everybody here, please join with me in remembering these young heroes of our nation who have made possible the security of our nation and the sacrifices of their families and loved ones who are here today. Now, thank you for that. You can be seated now. And of course, now we have Mrs. Irma Herreros and Sergeant Santiago Crummell, Executive Board members of the Veterans Memorial, who will help conduct the rose ceremony. Here, to stand in honor of Sergeant Golnitz, brothers in arms from the 173rd Airborne Soldiers, Santiago Crummell, Eusebio Torres, and from the 101st, Roy Aleman. Sergeant Golnitz, U.S. Army, 1st Squadron, 91st Cavalry Regiment, 173rd Airborne Brigade Combat Team. He died as a result of injuries caused by a suicide bomber on September 26, 2012 in Pula Alam, Afghanistan, while serving in Operation Enduring Freedom. He was born June the 8th, 1984. Recipient of the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, 2 Army Good Conduct Medals, the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, Afghan Campaign Medal with Service Star, the Iraq Campaign Medal with Arrowhead Device, Army Service Ribbon, Overseas Service Ribbon, Navy Meritorious Unit Commendation, the Navy Sea Service Deployment Mission. His hometown, Brownsville. Our next honoree, Specialist Kevin Cardoza, standing in honor Ramiro Cardoza, father. Maria Cardoza, mother. Delilah Cardoza, daughter. Melanie Cardoza, daughter. Ramiro Cardoza Jr., brother. Michael Cardoza, brother. And Leslie Cardoza, sister. Specialist Kevin Cardoza. U.S. Army, 1st Battalion, 36th Infantry, 1st Brigade Combat Team, 1st Armored Division. He died May the 4th, 2013, of injuries sustained when his vehicle was attacked by an enemy improvised explosive device in Maiwand, Afghanistan, while serving in Operation Enduring Freedom. He was born August 26, 1993. Awards include the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, the Army Good Conduct Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, the Afghanistan Campaign Medal with the Campaign Star, the NATO Medal, and the Combat Infantry Badge. Hometown for Specialist Kevin Cardoza, Mercedes, Texas. Now, if the audience wouldn't mind standing for just a moment. The Veterans War Memorial of Texas and all who are here and the people of this nation dedicate these walls of honor as a tribute to the nation's honored dead and to the Gold Star families. It is our nation's commitment and this memorial to ensure these heroes and their families' sacrifices are never forgotten by a grateful nation. Join with me as we salute these heroes and their families. You may be seated. This concludes the formal dedication of these two honored heroes. These soldiers now join the 1.4 million heroes that have died in all the wars and conflicts of the United States. And now we bring to the microphone Executive Board Member of the Veterans War Memorial of Texas, Mrs. Irma Arguelles.
Thank you, Neil. The Rio Grande Valley's pride runs deep for all the soldiers who have served from its ranks. Timothy Shea, director of the South Texas Health Systems, was once quoted as saying that the Rio Grande Valley has the highest percentage of decorated veterans and casualties of anywhere else in America. Our following 47 Rio Grande Valley fallen soldiers stand ready to stand back up that claim, beginning with Sergeant Edward J. Anguiano, Los Fresnos. Private First Class Juan G. Gadza, Jr., San Benito. Staff Sergeant Hector R. Perez, Brownsville. Private First Class Ray D. Cuervo, Laguna Vista. Lance Corporal Dustin M. Segula, Edinburgh. Sergeant Christopher Ramirez, Edinburgh. Lance Corporal Pedro Contreras, Brownsville. Sergeant Juan Calderon Jr., Weslaco. Sergeant Daniel Lee Galvan, Mercedes. Specialist Mark Anthony Zapata, Edinburgh. Sergeant Tomas Garces, Weslaco. Major Horst G. Moore, Los Fresnos. Corporal Isaac E. Diaz, Rio Hondo. Lance Corporal Julio C. Cisneros Alvarez, FAR. Staff Sergeant Joseph E. Rodriguez, Brownsville. Staff Sergeant Javier Marin Jr., Mission. Lance Corporal Christopher M. McCracken, Brownsville. Specialist James C. Kessinger, FAR. Lance Corporal Samuel Tapia, San Benito. Sergeant Johnny J. Perales Jr., Falfurrias. Sergeant Jesse Davila, Raymondville. Lance Corporal Benito A. Ramirez, Edinburgh. Private First Class Christian Menchaca, Brownsville. Staff Sergeant Omar D. Flores, Mission. Staff Sergeant Hector Leija, Raymondville. Specialist Darrell W. Ship, Harlingen. Lance Corporal Anthony Aguirre, Raymondville. Staff Sergeant Juan F. Campos, McAllen. Specialist James L. Adair, Harlingen. Specialist Daniel E. Gomez, Laguna Heights. Specialist Eric D. Salinas, Primera. Corporal Jose A. Rubio, Mission. Specialist Alex D. Gonzalez, Mission. Staff Sergeant Bradley Espinosa, Alton. Sergeant Fernando de la Rosa, Alamo. Private First Class Adriana Alvarez, San Benito. Lance Corporal Derek Hernandez, Edinburgh. Private First Class Diego Montoya, Mission. Private First Class Ira B. Lanningham, Zapata. Sergeant Rodolfo Rodriguez Jr., Westlaco. Staff Sergeant Esteban Altamirano, Edcouch. First Lieutenant Andres Cermeño, Brownsville. Specialist Kurt W. Kern, McAllen. Staff Sergeant Joseph H. Fankhauser, McAllen. Chief Warrant Officer 2, Jose Luis Montenegro Jr., San Juan. Sergeant Jonathan A. Golnitz, Brownsville. Specialist Kevin Cardoza, Mercedes.
We pause to remember the police officers, firemen, and medics who lost their lives in the terrorist attack of September the 11th, 2001. They too were killed in the line of duty, and their families also suffered the grief of the families that we honor here today. We remember the 72 police officers and the 343 firemen who lost their lives in that attack. To complete this beautiful ceremony, we begin with a moment of silence. That'll be followed by Stephen Lopez singing the song American Soldier. We'll have a 21-gun salute by the McAllen Police Department Honor Guard, taps sounded by Border Patrol Officer Rick Estrada, and the benediction by Korean War veteran Dr. Ricardo Chapa. Once more, U.S. Army Colonel Frank Plummer.
Thank you. That was a beautiful ceremony for us. Let's give a hand to everyone who did this. And for the families. This moment of silence is now that these young men and one woman have joined all of those who have stood between us and losing our precious freedom. So now they will never be forgotten here. So if you would rise, please, for a moment of silence, we will conclude that with our taps lowering the flag. Those who have difficulty standing, please sit down. Don't get up. Stephen? Join me in a moment, just a moment of silence.
I'm just trying to be a father, raise a daughter and a son, be a lover to their mother, everything to everyone, up and at 'em bright and early. I'm all business in my suit. I'm just up for success, from my head down to my boots. I don't do it for the money. There's bills that I can't pay. I don't do it for the glory. I just do it anyway. Providing for our futures, my responsibility. Yeah, I'm real good under pressure, being all that I can be. And I can't call in sick on Mondays when the weekend's been too strong. I just work straight through the holidays, and sometimes all night long. You can bet that I stand ready when the wolf growls at the door. Hey, I'm solid, hey, I'm steady, hey, I'm true down to the core. And I will always do my duty, no matter what the price. I've counted up the cost, and I know the sacrifice. And I don't want to die for you, but if dying just to me, I'll bear that cross with honor, 'cause freedom don't come free. I'm an American soldier, an American, beside my brothers and my sisters. Now I'll proudly take a stand when liberty's in jeopardy. I'll always do what's right. I'm out here on the front lines, sleep in peace tonight. American soldier, I'm an American soldier. An American soldier, an American, beside my brothers and my sisters. I will proudly take a stand when liberty's in jeopardy. I'll always do what's right. I'm out here on the front lines, sleep in peace tonight. American soldier, I'm an American. An American